Hey, we're live.
Hi.
It's near the end of 2021.
What?
Can you believe that?
No. I mean, yes.
Wow.
I'm ready. I think.
It's
How about
nuts.
you? Are you ready? I'm ready.
I'm ready. Anyway, we wanted to share with you tonight some stories like what have we overcome? A nice word. What have we
You want
overcome?
to try that?
Let's try it again. What have we
Not an English major.
Yeah, no, absolutely
okay.
freaking not. What have
Okay.
what
We know what you meant.
what have you overcome, or what have we overcome to be entrepreneurs in today's world, so to say? And Ashley and I were talking about some stories and things that we did, and how it's so much easier today, like to have your own business than it was. I started my first real business in the '90s, and
Even from when he started his business to when I started mine.
so much easier.
So much easier. I mean, from things you need to have in place.
Yeah.
Not necessarily from the emotional, okay, I'm ready to take this leap.
Do you want to share? Get something hard?
I want to hear your story.
All right. So I'll tell you a story. So I used to own a car lot. I had 3 car lots at one time, but I had a car repair shop, car lot called Car Sales and Details. And when I started on the journey to starting this business, I was working for a big company, a big oil company. I was in my early 20s. I had a company car. I had a corporate expense account. I was whining and dining customers. I didn't have to go to the office. I know it sounds funny today, but we didn't have the internet, and there were no cell phones. But my job was basically, here's your goals, go out and tear up the territory. And I drove around all day seeing clients.
And you did well with it.
I did very well. I
loved it.
I was successful.
They liked you. It was not like you had a weird relationship with the boss.
I had an East Coast. I traveled on the East Coast. I was in my early 20s. I traveled on the East Coast.
You were doing well with the position that you were in, but you just weren't.
I had a side job too, though. I had a side hustle.
Yeah.
That I was detailing cars and selling cars on the side. And the first year I did that, I made, in the '90s, I made $50,000 on the side doing that. I mean, it was a lot of money back then.
Nice.
But
who wouldn't mind another $50,000?
We sort of got dimed out, and I wasn't running a legal business. And
I was just about to say you didn't have that set up as a legal.
I didn't have it set up as a legal business, and some people got on my case, and then so I crawled back into my shell for a couple of period of time, and then I started. I really want my own business, so I started on this journey to build a company. Well, actually, I'm talking about this. You just couldn't start a company. You had to get a name. You had to file, because we were going to be doing things on cars and stuff like that. I had to get an LLC. I had to make sure nobody else had that name. There was no databases, so we had to write. My lawyer had to write to the state, had to write to the county.
It's a very manual.
Manual. It took 6 months
just to manage the
legality of the company.
Yeah.
And then we invested, and then we invested and built. I took over a building that needed work, and we invested $50,000 to renovate the inside of that building, which took months.
Wow. This is before you even had your first customer.
Oh, it was a year plus. Yeah. But then had to get insurance, and I didn't have a proven track record in the side of the business I was going into. So I had to fill out insurance forms for business by hand. I hate to write by hand. These forms were 50 pages of everything that you had to put in. The questions they asked, and your background, your family, your jobs, I did this 25 times, and I got 25 no's. And I was from insurance
So at
company.
this point, you're all in, and you're still getting
And I'm asking everybody you guys see me on here. I'm pretty outgoing. I've always been this way. I'm asking everybody I know. Give me a name of an insurance company. I'm driving from point A to point B. Now, also, my company was in Ambler, Pennsylvania. My business was being built in Ambler, Pennsylvania. I lived in Sicklerville, New Jersey. It was 45 miles. I was working full time during the day. At about 5 o'clock, I'd make my way over to the western suburbs of Philadelphia, and I'd work till midnight.
Wow.
Then I'd jump in a car, grab a hoagie or something, someplace, 45 minutes home to my place in Palmyra, go work. I did this, and then on the weekends, I did this for a year.
Wow.
And I didn't have insurance. So my 26th application, I remember it was on Ridge Avenue in Philadelphia, northeast, near Roxborough. It was in Roxborough in Philadelphia.
I know where you were.
And I went to this company, and I filled out the form, and they approved me, and it was $8,000 for the first year for insurance. It was crazy. And then in the whole process of this, I had to get my building, they call it a use and occupancy permit. And the
like an L&I kind of thing?
Yeah, like from L&I.
Okay.
And in the small town I was in, they had one guy who did it once a week for 4 hours a day, and he had to get his approval, and he didn't have so it took 8 months to get approval to like open the door and put, "Hi, we're open. Car sales and details. Bring your car in." And just like every business out there, the customers came pouring in. I was making so much money, it was nuts. That's not what happened. 9 days went by until I finally got a customer in the door to do an oil change. 9 days.
You know, it's funny though.
8 months. Wait, 8 months of paying the lease.
I dang.
The insurance, $70,000, $80,000 out that I didn't have. I just dumping money in and in and
so
in.
So tell me,
and
I mean,
in.
this is a great story, and don't get me wrong, I love it. What would be your message? I mean, you obviously decided that where you were, although things were going very well, they weren't what you really wanted. And you knew somewhere that going all in on having your own business was going to be.
I mean, a car business, which was really important to me.
Yeah.
Everybody was telling me I'm crazy. My parents were telling me I was nuts. All my friends were like, "Where are you guys? Why are you not hanging out with us? You know, why can't you come down the shore? Why can't you do whatever? Can't you play golf? Can't you do whatever it was?" Or every 20-year-old was doing. So what was
it that drove you to do all of this against all odds? Okay.
My father hated his job.
Yeah. You said he had a horrible commute, and he'd come home and he would complain that he hated his job.
He always said, "I wish I should have. I wish my father had a great career." I swore I would never say that. So I did.
So you went for it instead of playing it safe. Good stuff. I'm proud of you.
And I have a job. I have a business. It was really awesome. It was really cool. And,
and then when you were done with it,
2.5 years in, I was working my ass off. And I'm like, I didn't quit a white collar job and with a college background and to be like turning a wrench for a living. So I got into the more the selling side of things. And then
look at you now.
Look at me now. Here we are. Now you're in the events business.
But it's that comfort level, right? It's leaving the comfort. So for me, it was.
I had no choice. I didn't.
You did. You just didn't like.
I didn't like the other choices.
So,
yeah, that's it. I had choices. I didn't like them. But in my mind, there was no option.
I totally get it. And so you went all in, and look at you now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so for me, this was. I mean, we're sort of talking about like how we got to how we stepped out of our comfort zone, and so Gus was asking me like, when was a time when you were kind of stepping into something unknown? And you didn't know how it was going to work out, but somehow you just knew you had faith that on the other side of it was going to be better. And I mentioned the first thing I mentioned was my divorce. Like I was in an uncomfortable situation, but it was comfortable enough. But it reached the point where it became so uncomfortable that I knew that stepping into the unknown would be a better payoff than staying where I was. It was just unsustainable. I was so unhappy. And I was worried that I was making the people around me very unhappy. And
you probably were.
Yeah, I probably was. I was complaining all the time. My husband, So yeah, I finally hit that moment where I just said, like, point of no return. This is going to be uncomfortable for a while, but I know it's going to work out better. And look at me now.
So a couple things happen here. You learn the reason you don't jump into something is you don't have confidence. You don't have confidence. The reason you don't have confidence because you don't have the education, or I call it education. You don't have the knowledge that you need to know to make it
an obvious choice.
An obvious choice. Yes. As you get further along in your career and life.
Just like you did, like you had to go through the education process. You had to figure out, like, okay, I have to look up. You know, you went through the process of learning what you needed to learn. And then once you knew you had a path, you knew it wasn't going to be.
That wasn't even including like
No, I mean that was
the physical hard labor.
No,
I built the business, like built the walls, poured the concrete, like fixed the cars that needed to go for sale.
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean, when I decided,
like,
you know, it was
that was
funny.
the easy part.
So in some ways the decision was made for me. I mean, I was fired from my last job, and I was on the phone with my parents. I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to find another job now. And they were like, do you? Like, can't you do this yourself? Like, you've been doing this for a while, you're really good at it, you love it. Like, why go find another boss to hate? And I was just like, okay.
Why go find another boss to hate?
Seriously, all I did was complain to I was miserable. I loved what I did, but I was miserable where I was. So I was like, okay, you know what? I just had my daughter, and I figured if there were a time for a gap on a resume, this would probably be the most acceptable.
And that's what it meant too. Your resume is not your skill sets or anything else.
Exactly, but it was just like, all right, I'll give this a try. And I started by contracting. I thought, well, I'll dip my toe here. I'll see, you know, how this kind of works. And then after I contracted for a few years, I realized, you know what, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to take this on. And I did. And
so
look at me now.
So now that we have knowledge and we've done things, you know, we've been running this advanced conference to help other people get where they want to be in life. And we bring in people who have been there before and are where you want to be. And it's one of the reasons we get asked all the time, why do you do this?
Because we love it. I mean, but we love the value that it brings to other people. It
changes people's lives, and that's why we do it.
Just makes us all mushy and gushy.
Yeah, I mean, we've chosen this to make a living at, but it's changing people's lives, and that's how we do it. Because our life, I mean, if you can get this much more of an advantage, and it's not an advantage over someone else, it's an advantage on your own life.
It's about getting.
If you get 1%.
Getting closer to your personal best.
If you get 1% every year, you're 10% better over 10 years. But realistically, you get into the habit of getting 1% better on a daily basis. You will be so much further along in your life a year from now, 6 months from now. And let's face it, if you're watching us and you're seeing this, you already have a really good life. You've got this device that you can watch this on. You're making enough money that you probably have a roof over your head, and you're eating. A lot of people in the world are not in that position. And now it's our duty, as we said the other day, obligation, responsibility to be successful.
Yeah.
So we want to help other people be successful and pay it forward and give.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to say good night. Thank you for joining us and have a great evening.
Cheers.